Welcome to another episode of St. Vincent Untold Stories. On this episode, we give you the recent update on the La soufriere volcano in St. Vincent and many more. Big ups to all of my subscribers. And if you are new to the channel, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and hit the bell icon if you wish to see more videos like this one. Well, imagine the scientists said that we are still in a state of volcanic unrest, and men are using popo left, right, and center to send men at Dovecat. Former national footballer Dwayne Sandy was the most recent of them all. You see, I knew Dwayne Sandy very well. He was one of the best footballers in St. Vincent. But as I told you before, St. Vincent is a very hard place to get out of when you are talented in your tender stage. The allegations are that Dwayne and his girlfriend was sitting on an ends, and to unknown assailant just run out and do so bam 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 and lift out the 40. Slap out the man head back. Let me tell you something about places like Glen and Kialiako, and nobody sees anything. So things like that might remain unsolved forever. You could be living in these areas and you don't even know your own neighbor because nobody comes outside. This is not like the countryside where if a fowl is stolen, Tom knows and Harry knows and everybody's talking gossip. The neighbor know whose man was by whose friend and so forth. You see, in those areas, it is like from work to home, home to work. As I told you before, the way things are going in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with extreme poverty, things are only going to get worse. There is a possibility that we would see an increase in a predial larceny, in a breaking-ins of house, and in a pauper crimes because the volcano erupted, the flood came, and some of these people don't have anything to go back to. You see? And this could have been avoided, but in St. Vincent, too many loopholes and too much connections. This is what happens in St. Vincent. You move from the preschool to the primary school. You go from the primary to the secondary. Then you go on to the college and to the universities. If you are lucky, when you come home, you might get a job right away. But if you are good at licking boots, your work is sure. So, if you are not lucky and you are not willing to lick boots, you are going to be on the sideline. And this is what is going to happen. There are persons who do not have the qualifications like you, but they would be getting higher payments than you, even in the $3,000, $4,000 range. Because why? They know the PM personally. Remember, we are underground. So we know that's the way thing goes in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. If I'm lying, then go on social media and you would see how many college graduates are complaining. You see? But in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, there are a lot of people who only come out on social media. When the protests are going on in Kingston for the betterment of them and their children, they don't come out, they stay silent. When that is the time, they need to show that they are really feeling pressure. It have so many business personnel that applied for the prime grant, and we have seen their work ethics. All when the pandemic, they still put out a lot of work, but others were chosen over them. Big sons of business moguls who did not really need the funding, mashing up the country, wasting the resources that could have employed so many persons. Some of those monies, the better the government, they just go to houses and distribute them to poor people. Because most of them take it and flex it out. Some of these same persons who got a prime grant and stimulus package would be looking to get again out of the volcano relief money. And now you see why. the country is not moving forward. As I said before, no banks in St. Vincent is connected to Cash App. That's one. For the PayPal, there is a possibility that you can send out funds, but you cannot receive. And now we have some guys invented something called the PaySwift that was working well for everyone. And now they are trying to put a ban on it, probably because companies are seeing competition. And the PaySwift was even easier to trace than the Cash App, because with your Cash App, you don't even have to use your right name. Don't even talk about the customs in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Imagine you might buy a vehicle from out of Japan between like 1,000 to 4,000 US dollars. And when that arrives, it's gonna run you like 20,000, 20 something thousand in those kind of areas. What are we doing? The son of the PM was talking about cryptocurrency. Are the banks in St. Vincent equipped already to handle things like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? Not even Cash App and PayPal we have full access to here. Camelo, I thought that by now you would have implemented that. Another reason why St. Vincent isn't going forward. We have big companies pressuring us with ridiculous prices. By the time they get competition, they try to close down the small men. You see, all those persons who are rushing the evacuees to go back in the ash, why not come and join them and help them clean up same way? We are one country, one St. Vincent. Those houses that the PM put a deadline on for the persons to go back and stay. I wonder if he could make it there for 1 week in any of those houses. You see, what you don't like, you must not give. There comes a time when the evacuees have to go back home. But right now is not the time because the place is not properly cleaned up as yet. They clean their place today. Tomorrow it ash up again. The next day it ash up again because ash is still blowing from half of the roads. But Vincentians are now finding out the real you. This eruption had more ash than 1979. And the persons in 79 stayed in the shelters much longer than now. One might say yes. The equipment now is more advanced than in 79. But the fact remains that it have more ash than in 79. And it have some places that the water truck cannot go. As I told you before, if you remain in the shelters, then they cannot use up the monies like how they want. But if you go back home, they can say, oh, we use the money to do that and to do this, and then the money disappears. Then everybody's poor again. Extreme poverty plus extreme poverty. Tell me something. What are the plans to get us out of extreme poverty? We need answers now. We are not hearing any plans about building any factories or any major industries. Tell me something. Even if the geothermal project was completed, how many persons would that have employed? In St. Vincent, we have a lot of raw materials wasting, but most of the people are living under extreme poverty. And whenever they give away some of these government fundings, they end up in the wrong hand. So the country remains stagnant. It isn't going anywhere. It have another situation where retirees don't want to go home. So what they do when they retire for one job, they get another government job. And these young people that are coming out of the colleges and the universities has nothing to do. Brian Lara was one of the greatest cricketers in the West Indies. But his time came and he had to move on. Usain Bolt is a leading record holder, but he left space for the young ones. But in St. Vincent, some people don't look out for the young people. Honestly, it have a lot of people living under extreme poverty. So some people would have to work past certain age or work for their entire lives. But when you are working as a public servant and your time reach, don't you think it is great so that you can train somebody so they can pick up from where you left off, so the country can move forward and they could bring new ideas to the table? You heard what Vibes Cartel said in an interview. When his time comes, he has to eventually give up. It at that time, Yellow Man used to run dancehall. Then came the likes of Shabba Ranks. And now you have the new generations like Alkaline and so on. Some of the red card holders are not realizing that it's about the big man and his family. So what about your family? Look into yourself deeply. Don't you want the best for your children as well? If you care about your country and your children's future, you'd reach out to the big man and tell him what. Things need to change in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We need to move forward. With that being said, I just want to big up the entire population of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the regional islands and the international countries who are supporting and praying for us at this time. We the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines appreciate what you are doing for us. We thank you.